I'm looking at South Africa because of the Constitution. They have one of the most phenomenal constitutions in the world. People come and study this Constitution.
We need not to be afraid as Black people, because what I've noticed is that when you're in Joburg, we are not afraid of white people.
Middle class does grow. I mean, we look at statistics here, it is growing. But the other challenge that comes with that is that once you enter middle class, you're hit with, taxes.
As the lucky person in the family who's gone to school, who's finally landed a job, you also need to start paying for your family. You also need to build mom a house, take your siblings to school, and bring up everyone else. And that unfortunately drains the middle class.
The time of apartheid and now, I would say, yes, the cosmetics of apartheid have been taken away. And you must remember, apartheid had systems. Those people had systems.
We just want to let you know, let the brothers and sisters that side, that we never hated you. We just always wanted you to come home and experience what is it like to be an African.
Yes. We never heard from Africans that they didn't like us. We heard from the white man that Africans didn't like us, That's who we heard it from.
Right.
So, I guess we can go in and get started, and as more people jump on, I like to have a call plan when I do stuff, to make sure that we're kind of staying on focus. So maybe everybody can go around and introduce themselves, because even though I just met Ezekiel and Dino or Denzel, right? Maybe we can all introduce ourselves, kind of say who we are, what we do. So we can start with Ezekiel. I know you introduced yourself to me, but we'll start with you.
Okay, I'm Ezekiel. I stay in Johannesburg, Bramley. It's a walk away from Melrose Arch. I do training, like I've said, construction-oriented training. Yeah, I'm self-employed. Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Same,
Michael?
nice to meet you. Yes.
Hi, I'm Michael Gibson. I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm a special education teacher at the high school level, and I'm also a visual artist.
Is that your work in the background?
Yeah, that's my work right there. Bang.
That is beautiful, man.
Nice.
That is dope. Now, is that painted or is that graphic?
That's it's a mixed media. It's pencil, so all the black stuff is pencil, and then all the color stuff is acrylic.
Wow. Definitely. And you are from Toronto, or are you South African,
Yes.
living in Toronto?
I am born and raised in Toronto, Canada. My family's from Jamaica, but I'm here because I'm hoping to relocate to Africa, and South Africa is definitely on the list.
Definitely. That's cool. That is cool. Jamaica. We'll talk about that shortly. Brother Nash.
Yeah, how's it? My name is Nash from Johannesburg, Modderfontein to be specific. So yeah, I run a advertising company. So we basically do like out of home advertising. Been watching your channel, got so interested in, because there's some stuff that I'm doing that involves some of the stuff that you guys partly talked about, and there's other stuff that I'd like to also just put on the table at a later stage.
Definitely, man. That's great. Okay, and who is this? This is, who do we have next here? Help me out, Steve. No, I'm sorry. Kia?
Kaya.
Oh, Kai, sorry. Kaya.
Yeah, how are you? Just introducing ourselves.
Kaya, where are you from?
Philly.
All right, Philly.
I have a story about Philly. I love Philly. I used to go to Philly to perform at a place called Black Lily. Have you ever heard of that?
Of course. Wow. Doing poetry?
You didn't see my last video because it only got 200 views,
Oh, I saw it.
I really used to be a poet back in the day. And Katrina kind of killed that, man. We have 13 people in here. I can't believe that. I just telling
Right.
Adrian,
We
oh,
look
man,
like somebody might show up, maybe
somebody will show
one.
Okay, so all right, so we just did is it Kaya?
Kai is fine.
All right.
Okay.
Who wants to go next?
Hey, my name is Steven. Hello, everyone.
Steven,
Hey,
all
Steven.
right, how are you?
Yes, Stephen.
Okay, great. Actually, I've been listening to you because I also want to relocate to South Africa. Right now, I'm in South Carolina. I'm retired. So I'm going to email you and ask you a whole lot of questions about, the retirement visa. Because I heard you and your wife say that I think you got to go to DC. So I'm looking forward to retiring there. I was there in May, but I want to come back again. But I want to come back on the retirement visa. So I listen to your shows. I listen to everything that you have given and the information that you've given. And I'm looking forward to just learning more from you and your wife and your experience. So expect to get an email from me just asking a bunch of questions about the process of the retirement visa.
Hey, listen, I look forward to it, and I'm super duper excited. All right.
Okay.
But I look forward to that email. So who wants to go? Who wants to do the next intro?
We got a few people.
We got a few
Claudia.
people.
I'll go. I'm at work, so I'll make this quick. I just stumbled upon your channel because I want to relocate to Africa. I have 6 kids, and you guys are only people that have kids that's relocating. I don't want to be here. I have multiple passports to, just in case, because we're Haitian American. So just in case I gotta, jump shit, however, to get down there, because these people, I feel like they're just trying to cut the window real quick. I'm just on here to just really connect. I had a spa, I had to close it down. So now I'm in insurance working and stuff like that. I was the one that asked you guys about the visa, the aspects and stuff, because I've been talking to immigration to see how to get out there. I'm trying to get out there in the next couple months, and stuff. So I do got 2 houses I got to sell, and one in Indiana. I reside in Arizona. To get out there, to have a plan to actually, not like how you guys were saying a couple days ago, have a plan in place and prepare and re-prepare, because I don't want to come back. If I leave, I don't want to come back. Not for no visit, not nothing. I'm gone. And I told my mom she better come roll with us, because there's no life here, and it's gonna get worse. The kids is homeschool and stuff like that. They want to be in school, and some schools they're talking about, that if your kids are not vaccinated, unvaccinated, it's just too much riffraff. Everybody has pro-choice, make your own choice, whatever, and be happy with it. That's my thing. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you so much, man. Listen, we
Arizona's rough.
Yeah, we had that same feeling. Is it Thate? I don't want to mispronounce anyone's name. It's Thato, young lady, right?
She raised her hand.
Hi.
Raise your hand. I just want to want to introduce yourself.
My name is Tato, actually. I'm actually currently in the Western Cape right now. I'm a law student at UWC. I'm actually about to go back home in a few days, back to Johannesburg. It's nice to meet you all.
Pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sindisa.
Pleased to meet you, Sindisa.
With your Ralph Lauren polo thing, we got you sorted. Just hit me up when you're around. We do have both brand. You don't no need to import when you're in South Africa. We got and you can get some shops in Sandton and
that's it, man.
You just hit me up. I'll show you that around. You see things.
I will, man. I appreciate that, man, because that was a big consideration, because I am a Ralph Lauren affectionate. Nah, don't worry about the word. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm a brand loyalist. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'll definitely hold you down when I come to Josie, so I can stack up on my Because I was trying to figure out how to import them. Then Dilly, you want to jump on right quick and make your intro?
Can you hear me? I don't know if I'm still on mute.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorted. Hi, my name is Sandile. I'm based in Pretoria. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I need to say.
I'll just let everyone know that Sandile, I think we met on the YouTube channel. And when I first went to Johannesburg, I think in February, he met us out in Rosebank. We had some coffee, whatever have you. Then when I went back in June, we met in Pretoria. He took us around the mall. He took us to get something to eat. He took us all over Pretoria, and I guess that was the is that the president's house we went to?
It's like the union buildings. It's the admin building for the president.
Yeah. I mean, so he has really shown to us that spirit that everyone talks about when they go to South Africa, how welcoming the people are. He has really gone. If anyone can represent South Africa and the spirit that everyone talks about, it's Sandile. He's 100, man. Because he didn't know me.
And we had children with us. So he lugged all 4 of us around.
Right. He lugged all 4 of us around, man. So we appreciate that.
And it was good. It was good having you guys around and taking guys for a drive. So yeah, so it was it's always nice to meet new people as well. So yeah, it was fantastic.
Definitely.
Thank you. We have like Simbas here. I don't think we've heard from Nash.
Let me just jump in there. My name is Simba, as in the Lion King, which you most likely know. I was born in Zimbabwe, next to South Africa, and then I moved here some years ago, a long time ago. And I love SA. I'm not going anyway. Why I say that is that I got a cousin of mine who I stayed with. He's now head of procurement Google in the US. He said, you should come over. You can make a lot of money in the US. I told him, like, okay, it's fine. Don't worry, I'll come next year when things get bad in South Africa. And then I got my older brother who lives in the UK. He always says, why don't you come to the UK? It's like, it's fine. I'll come next year when things go bad in South Africa. And I got my brother in Australia. He says, why don't you come to Australia? When you turn 45, it's difficult to immigrate to Australia. I tell him, don't worry, I'll come because I'm 44. So yeah, so I live in SA and don't have any inkling or anything to move anywhere besides, love it here too much.
Definitely.
And I can also help you out when those guys who are looking for visas and stuff like that. I can give you more information on visas, which ones to get, how it's easy to get, and anything like that from my side.
Man, I sure appreciate that. Man. I appreciate that, Simba. Quick story about my name. In Arabic, my name means lion, and my last name means ruler or king. So when you say Simba, my name literally means, I know you've seen the Lion King, right? Like my name means Lion King. So that's literally what it means in English. So we have Ms. PLC. Mrs. PLC.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
we're just going around introducing ourselves.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just got through making a cheesecake, so I was in a rush.
Ooh. Put my piece in.
Yeah. I'm in Cape Town, and this is the first time. This is the first time I've ever been on a internet live feed. So you're very special to me.
Okay.
I hope you come and enjoy, and I hope everything goes well. So.
Thank you. So do you live in Cape Town?
We retired here in Cape Town in the second time in 2013, first time in 2009. We're from my husband. He's watching television. We're from Dayton, Ohio. How many people do you have in the room? 16, 17? Okay. I don't want to take up too much time, but we're from Dayton, Ohio. My husband worked for General Motors for 37 years, and I'm an adjunct professor and businesswoman and some other stuff. But we've been here. I've been coming here since 1998 to South Africa, to Africa.
That is cool. You know, I think there's some people who wanted to know about retirement visas and things, and I don't know if you'd be willing to share an email address or something, but would you mind like dropping some sort of contact in the chat for those who may have like specific questions about retirement visa?
I'll do it for you, but I won't do it for anyone else.
Okay.
Because everything is on, all you have to do is go to the embassy website, South African embassy website. There's one in DC, Chicago, and LA, and everything is there. And we're here on a retirement visa. We put in for our permanent residency about 2 years ago.
Okay.
But it'll take another 5 years. Everything down here moves slowly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I appreciate you know that. Look, who else wants to introduce themselves? If not, I want to jump into some questions that I have. I got questions because
and you should.
And Miss Mrs. PLO, is it
PLC, I think.
PLC. All right, I want to ask you as well as any of my South African folk that jump in. You said that you have been on there since 1998. That's like literally right after the end of apartheid, right?
Right.
So how, in your opinion, how has South Africa changed from an outsider's perspective in that time? And then I want one of my South Africans to kind of jump in and let me know their opinion.
Well, I tried to get here before then, even during apartheid. My parents wouldn't let me, my husband wouldn't let me come. But I'm looking at South Africa because of the Constitution. They have one of the most phenomenal constitutions in the world. People come and study this Constitution. It has everything everybody wants to see in a Constitution: gay rights, people's rights. And the Constitution, everybody should definitely be reading it. I see more professionals coming back home, which is really good. We have South Africans all over the world, and they have represented themselves very well all over the world for a long time. We're talking about 1900s, the 1800s. They have been coming to the Americas, and I'm just proud of them. I'm proud of the South Africans.
All right, and thank you so much. My South Africans want to tell me, how has South Africa changed in your opinion since apartheid ended? Just compare and contrast, and where do you see it going? I see someone jumping in.
Can I just come in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think most of us are relatively young. So comparison might not necessarily be a true reflection of how things were before 94 and how things are now. But I think just to looking at in terms of where people stay and the different suburbs, the shops you could go to, the beaches you have access to, I think that has been like a huge, the changes have been like astronomical. In terms of work opportunities, what now Black people can do compared to before 94, there's like a huge change. So I think those are some of the things that one can point out. And also university access. We have what we call PDIs, previously Black universities. Now people can go to any university without any major challenges except for money. But yeah, those are just some of the things that have changed before 94 and also post 94. That's what I've just observed and seen. I'm not sure in terms of other stuff because most of us were relatively young during apartheid. I don't know. That's just what I think.
Ezekiel said he's 53.
Yeah, I wanted to. Is there anyone?
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to say something. Sandile also.
Okay. Sandile, maybe Sandile says something before.
Yes. Thank you very much. Hi everyone. I just joined. I'm Sandile also. Nice to meet you, Sandile Tembe.
That's where are you based, Sandile?
I'm based in Kagiso, Krugersdorp.
Oh, on the West End.
Yeah, West End.
Okay, no, we're a bit far. Okay.
Great. Look, man, I have been struggling with work. I shouldn't say men, guys. I've been struggling with work, and recently I got a job as a woodworker. So we fix like windows, and we paint and we do all of that stuff, and it has exposed me to see other things that actually have been left out in terms of apartheid. You see, I go to locations such as Bryanston. Also, there's one in Pretoria, midstream, and it showed me the gap, the huge gap that apartheid is still existent even now, and it's actually not fair how the gap has widened, and it looks like it's alive and kicking when you're looking at all these beautiful apartments, these beautiful estates, and there's quite a few of us as Black people. That's a downside of it. I'm not trying to be negative about it, but the access to actually to get those things are there, but they are immensely difficult to actually to get yourself to be on that par of becoming a person to stay on such locations. So that is what the feeling that I'm getting with South Africa. We need not to be afraid as Black people, because what I've noticed is that when you're in Joburg, we are not afraid of white people. We will tell them where to get off if they are wrong. We'll tell them, this is not your country, by the way. But when you go to provinces such as Eastern Cape, because I stayed there, they are a little bit afraid of white people, and they can't really, express themselves fully, like in Joburg. There's also a hip hop artist who was talking about the same thing. I think it's youngster CPT, young CPT from Cape Town. He was talking about the same thing, that in Cape Town, racism there has actually been perfected. Not everyone is allowed to stay on a certain place and whatsoever. So I just wanted to highlight those things, that, as much as South Africa, there's a lot of positivity, but it's becoming, even now, it's becoming more and more difficult for us to be on the same par with or to participate in the economy that we will love to participate in. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you so much, Sandile. I see we got a few people with their hand raised, so I'm just going to go in order. MZWAKHE. I did not want to attempt to pronounce it and disrespect anyone's name.
It's Mzwaki. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you well.
Okay, cool. So my name is Mzwaki, and I've actually been born in Soweto, which is like the heart of you could say Joburg, and I'm also in agreement with what Sandile said around the apartheid system has actually changed quite a lot, and it was a whole system. It was a systematic thing that actually made people or groups of people live in different types of situations, and it's becoming very difficult to undo all of that, especially if you're Black. So I grew up in Soweto. I fortunately had a chance to be able to go to school. My mother was able to afford a good school, and I went to a school and be able to further my education. So, and I think that gave me a leg up to be able to, live a life that's at least comfortable. Although my Black brothers and sisters are not afforded that kind of, that life. And unfortunately, it's all about it's not so in South Africa, I guess if you want to call it racism, it's not an overt type of racism. There are some areas where it's like that, like your Iranians and places like that. But in places like the corporate world where I work, I generally am faced with issues of like that glass ceiling, where I don't feel like I measure up, even though I'm educated. I've got the education that I need. I'm qualified and I've got the experience. But for some reason, I don't land the positions that are available. Majority of the executives in some companies are majority white. So it's still a battle within the corporate world to be able to, once you land a job, just to get to that level of um, position, and not just that. Obviously the government is and it's interesting, the statistics in South Africa, 80%, almost 80% of the people there are black. And unfortunately the wealth that is within South Africa is still within the white minorities, which doesn't make sense. It's like it's mind-boggling. So yeah, so I just wanted to give you that view from where I come from and where I'm at currently. So I work a job, but I'm thinking to myself, I can't. Yeah, the one of the videos that you said, in one of the videos you said, when you're working a job, you're just as you're just about broke.
Yeah.
When I thought about that, and I thought, geez, like that's where I'm at. I might be living in a good, what looks like a good life. I'm able to afford for my family and that sort of thing. But if I don't have my own business or I don't have any other income to sort of fall back on, I am just about broke, which is, the current situation. So yeah, it's like in South Africa, opportunities are there, but it becomes very difficult to just break through, either because of, resources in terms of like money or contacts even. So yeah, I just wanted to shed some light around that.
I thank you so much for that. I wanted to ask before we move on to Tato, T-H-A-T-O. I don't want to mispronounce anyone's name, but I want to ask this. So in some of my research, and I think this professor from the University of Cape Town, he mentioned the growth of the Black middle class from 94 until now. So apparently it has been like growing at such a tremendous rate, even though it is still small in proportion to the actual population. Do you see the Black middle class continuing to grow? And maybe that in maybe 20 years from now, we'll see different numbers as it relates to the holding of wealth.
Yeah. So definitely the Black middle class does grow. We look at statistics here, it is growing. But the other challenge that comes with that is that once you enter middle class, you're hit with, taxes. Now, majority of Black South Africans are unemployed. They are not able to pay taxes. And the government actually taxes the very middle class that's, a very small portion of it that's just like barely making it. So even if you're in middle class, you're just about broke. You're just trying to, keep your head up and push as much as you can, just to make sure you don't fall, back into. It's very easy to fall back into the poverty line.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick statistic.
I hope that answers your question.
Quick statistic on the United States: 7 out of 10 Black middle class children, or children who are raised in the middle class, will fall back into poverty within their lifetime in the United States. So even here in this great wealth, those of us like my wife and I, we've gone to graduate school. We've been working years. We still concern ourselves with, dang, I hope my children don't end up in poverty after I've done all of this work. I want to move on to Tato. I'm repeating after Adrian.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Another part that I think hasn't been addressed in this conversation is the fact that a lot of Black people still have what we call Black tax. That's kind of keeping us in poverty of a sort. I'm not sure how much you know about it, but it's just this whole concept of once you, as the lucky person in the family who's gone to school, who's finally landed a job, you also need to start paying for your family. You also need to build mom a house, take your siblings to school, and bring up everyone else. And that unfortunately drains the middle class. And by the time you're done, it's retirement age and you have nothing to show for it.
Definitely know about the Black tax. I'm sorry.
Oh, my apologies. What were you saying?
I said I definitely know about the Black tax, but yeah, go continue. I apologize.
Okay, now with the question about the comparison of South Africa during apartheid versus now, I'd actually like to start off by saying that I'm only 21. I wasn't there during apartheid, but I do have a certain amount of experience with South Africa. I grew up in Johannesburg, which is much more liberal in terms of like how much space and which spaces you can occupy as a Black person. So now having come here to Cape Town for studying, I've just noticed certain things, and I've just noticed that like apartheid complexes still exist here. For instance, I've been trying to get internships and stuff within the legal fraternity. I think that's probably one of the most infamous for the racism here. So you'll find that I will not get certain positions or have access to certain things purely because of my skin color. And I know that might be presumptuous of me, but I look at the candidates who did make it through, and sometimes I'm more qualified than them for certain things, but they will get it because they're white. And even in Johannesburg, the legal fraternity is still quite racist to this day. And again, buying a home here as a Black person is just a mission. I don't know how it is if you're perhaps a foreigner coming in and bringing in money, because I don't think that's much of an issue for you. But as a Black South African, you might even not be afforded the opportunity to buy a home. When you call a real estate agent and say that your name is Ntombi or Tato, they'll say, no, sorry, the house has already been sold. But if you call as Kevin, suddenly the house is available.
Yeah, like Miss PLC says, it reminds me of America. You know, all the tricks we have to go through. But Adrian has a great white voice, so we use her all the time.
That's sad.
I don't have it. I'm from New Orleans. I can't get rid of this accent. All right, Mr. Ezekiel, yes.
Okay, I've had an experience of living during apartheid and afterwards. I mean, let me just give you a rundown. In my observation is that apartheid was structured in layers, right? And most of what was removed was the cosmetics of apartheid. You know? The core of apartheid are some of the things that we are fighting against even now. I hear the lady says that we have a beautiful constitution. Yes, it is. It's a beautiful constitution, but it's when you have something very beautiful, but in order to run it, it's costing you. You know what I mean? It's I equate that to our constitution. That's why I think to some extent it does need to be fixed here and there so that it can relate to us. You know, it can be quite pragmatic to us. However, comparing the time of apartheid and now, I would say yes, the cosmetics of apartheid have been taken away, and you must remember. Apartheid had systems, you know, those people had systems. Some of the systems were good, they worked for us, and some of them did not work for us. Unfortunately, the new government does not maintain some of the things that could work for us. You know, they discarded almost everything, and we are running this thing anew, a country anew. So I think it could be better. It could be better. It's just inefficient. It is effective, but inefficient. It can run better, you know?
All right.
Yes.
Someone asked if we're going to post this to YouTube. Yes, we will, if you guys don't mind.
I wanted to speak about now employment. Now, when it comes to employment, I feel our brothers are also have very high expectations, but if you look at it, what the new government should have done, it was supposed to set up, like our alternative, our value chain. We're supposed to have our own value chain in such a way that at least it would have created employment for everyone. So they came up with the concept of BEE, which I don't think is as effective as it was supposed to have been, So let us not look for employment. Let us create our own enterprises. And I mean, those guys are right to not give theirs opportunities, because we also are supposed to have our own and create opportunities for our own. That's my take.
Dino, can I bother you to jump in? I saw you posted a comment. Do you want to mention what you said and tell us why?
Okay. So I'll basically state that BEE does not work, and the reason why I'm saying BEE does not work is because the level field where we start off from, it's different. White people have had many years ahead of Black people, and we're not starting from the same starting point. And what happens is when we are now in businesses, we obviously lack certain things and skills, and that's why I said BEE does not afford us the opportunities that white people have. And when it does happen, it only goes to marginalized few Black people, the Black elite, and they only look out for themselves, which they can basically, but it doesn't filter down to the majority of people. And that's why I say BE doesn't work. It's ineffective at the moment. Maybe like Easy says, it does need to be looked at, but currently it's ineffective, unfortunately.
And then we have Sindisi, Peaceful. Sindisa.
Yeah.
You said
I would like to agree and disagree with this BEE thing. From my own experience, it's working, but it will take long for it to work. Let me give you an example. You have Johnson's and Sons, which maybe they're working as they have trucks in the mines. They all, if they don't have a BEE certificate, which means that they're not gonna be able to get contracts in the mines. They will need to feature a Black person to go into the mines. They say BEE, it's a requirement, but it's not forced into. So if it's Assad and Sons, and you are white, and you're looking for a contract to work, maybe to transport oil to ESCOM, for example, you will not be afforded that opportunity to get that contract because you do not have a Black partner. What it does is giving a space for a Black, for us as Black people to push to have our own companies to go in, and to phase out this monopoly of white people which are owning all the industries, because you are not forced to get the BEE certificate, but if you don't have a BEE certificate as a white person, you're not given the contract. So with that, I agree that it's phasing up a little bit, little by little, on the what do you call it? The monopoly of white people and the cabals of the white people. Like if you can check in the mining sector now, most mining firms which had contracts which were given like 100 years old, they're canceling the contracts because they're not having BEE partners. These huge mining firms are closing down, and they're giving opportunity to Black people to go into those mines. So it's working, but not really working.
Can I say something quickly?
Go ahead, Dino, and then we'll go to Simba.
Yeah, I have something to say.
Okay. What I've noticed is when these companies, like Sindisa says, they open up and they say, okay, we want Black folks to run things, the operational manager, the procurement manager. So most of the times, this is coming from experience, I've worked at the embassy. We've done some background investigation, and we found that most of these companies do what is called as fronting, where they have this Black person in there, but this Black person has no say, no decision making. He basically, or she basically is just there as a face, and they have no power. And they just do that so they can have the tick to say, oh yeah, we've got a black person, but they've got no power whatsoever.
You know, and before we get to December, this sounds so very familiar. We live in a city, Adrian and I, which is right now is 53% black, but prior it used to be about 68% black. And we have what they call the DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, right? And so white companies or white people who had the capital, they would get the blackface to be 51% owner, right? But he had no power, he had no authority, he couldn't hire, he couldn't hook up people for a couple of jobs. He was just the face, and then you realize that all of the money and stuff in the back, it was in the background. So there's a poem by a sister named Sonny Patterson. She says we know this place. So it sounds, it sounds extremely familiar. But let's go to Simba. He has his hand raised, or he had his hand raised.
They selling us out.
Okay, can I make 2 points on the BEE? And I used to come to South Africa with my parents in the 80s, so I'm old enough. So we used to see the buses, the double-decker buses used to say no blacks allowed. Even if you go on the back, on the benches in the past was no blacks allowed. And we used to go to Hillbrow. I know it brings bad memories for Asad and I, but Hillbrow used to be nice. In the 80s, we used to stay in a hotel in Hillbrow, was mostly white. And to go into a hotel, it would say maybe the first reception floor was for everyone. Then from the first floor up to the third or fourth floor, there would be red carpet and everything, and like a sort of like a barrier that is only for whites. And then the black people who would go to the apartments from maybe the fourth floor upwards. So, and us coming from Zimbabwe, which was more independent, we didn't understand. We knew what was going on, but we just like, why are they so afraid of white people and stuff like that? We just didn't go there because we just told not to. But sometimes we sneak down and go through the red floors on the carpet, being naughty as kids. So we were exposed to apartheid during that time. And then when I came here later on as an adult, things have improved a lot. That's why I made I stay here. And then the second thing about what you should do as a country. I know, where I come from, the guys in SA who say Zimbabwe things are going bad. Zimbabwe things are going bad because we're being made an example of. Because Zimbabwe took all the white industries and said, give it to black people. If the black people mess it up, we mess it up as a country. Now, that's why all these sanctions are there. Because anyway, in South Africa, if you say we want land, what do they say? Look at Zimbabwe. If you want more access to capital, look at Zimbabwe. So no matter what, they will just keep Zimbabwe as an example for the whole of Africa. Even if you go to Zambia right now and say, we want something, they'll just say, look at Zim if you want to look for any problem. So leave what is there, and then you wait for the breadcrumbs, which will give to you. If you want anything more than the breadcrumbs, oh, you're in trouble. We'll make you like Zimbabwe. So until Africa unites as a whole, and then no longer, because what do we need from the US anyways? We've got car manufacturing plants here, we've got the steel, we've got everything, we've got the rare earth materials needed to make microchips, we've got the knowledge and everything. But once we are united, then it's fine. But also at the same time, if you look at the US, they say to the Black Americans, look, you're better than Africans, don't go there, don't associate with Africans because they'll bring you down. If you go to South Africans, look, you're superior Africans than everyone else. Don't try and get involved with other countries in Africa because they will drag you down. So they divide and conquer. So as long as we allow the people to do that to us, it's not even the white people, even the Chinese who come and say, you are the good Africans, that's why we are investing in you. Don't invest in other African countries. We're always going to be in trouble. Until we unite as Africa and say, look, no, I don't need to buy Jordans for the US because from China, because we make the leather here, we export the leather to China. The Chinese make the shoes and the Jordans, they go to the US, we buy them for more money. Why is that? Why should we buy Jordans from the US where you can make them in Africa and then export them to the US or whatever, buy them in Africa as Jordans ourselves? So those are my little 2 cents worth. And Uber used to be very nice, very, very beautiful in the 80s, that is, or early 90s.
Thank you. And I'm with you with everything you said, but I'm gonna still buy these Ralph Lauren polos. We're gonna make sure we keep these. We're gonna keep polo. We're gonna keep that as a separate thing. Easy, before you jump in, I see Nash had his hand raised.
Thanks a lot, Asad. And I would like to agree with everyone, Easy, that as you are on point. And I actually want to say to Tato, well done for getting where you are. That's very good. Sandile, you touched on a point. Sandile, not Sandile Tembe, the other Sandile. You touched on a point on youngster CPT talking about racism in Cape Town. 100%, that's a tick on that, and I absolutely agree. To Simba, we've got a lot in common, you and I, in terms of the political messages that you've come across in the little maybe say juxtaposing, like, the both sides of Zim. And because I'm also kind of in a similar position, I grew up obviously in a politically run situation, family wise and everything, so I have the best knowledge of Zim, Zambia, even as far as Mozambique as well, obviously, as here in South Africa. So I kind of have that particular, because I actually speak quite a lot of languages. I speak about 15 languages, including Portuguese as well. So that shows you that the movement around in the political sphere, Mozambique was the Portuguese, Zim was the English, obviously, and there's a lot of Afrikaans traits there. I'm sure you'll agree, Simba. You kind of know that there's a lot in common where we call certain stuff like broek, like trouser. You also kind of call it that here also in South Africa. But also just now coming back to the part where maybe I kind of understand maybe where maybe you, brother Assad, as an African American, right? And now looking at here in South Africa, the Black people, I think there's a lot of similarities in terms of the formation. And I think somebody touched on the fact that it was a structured way of literally breaking you down. You lose control of who you are. So for you to start from zero is different from, say, a Caucasian person who starts off, maybe say from a stage 2 that you will never get to, because your stage 1 will obviously be limited. There will be a lot of rules that come against you, like to say, firstly, say maybe just acceptance into a university, right? They'll tell you you didn't make the grade. But if you then go into corporate, you then see that the person who's like your line manager does not have the same, does not equate to your qualification. Then you ask yourself, how did that happen? Why does that happen? It's because these were rules that were set up a long time ago. So in the transition from apartheid to now, a lot of stuff was not broken down because of the agreements that they had behind closed doors, where people were possibly like forced to say, okay, if you guys just sign here, we're gonna give you this and that, maybe without full grasping of what they were getting themselves into. That's what leads to us where we are now. When they're touching on BEE, BEE is a good program if it was done well. The problem is that also the government has also slacked behind in literally forcing the fact that the Anglo Americans, the South 32s, the Rio Tintos of the world that run the mining, pharmaceutical side, your Aspens, they all run their businesses as if Black people do not exist at the end of the day, because you don't have a say in what they say. You don't eat the profits of whatever they're making at the end of the day. But I would say that if we were better managed, if we were better managed, we would be at a better place, because there's a lot of potential. The only problem is the managing part of it and the agreements that were done behind closed doors, where people did not have an altogether say. But I actually like the fact that you guys have seen what you guys have been through and would rather make a fresh start where you feel freer. Because if I remember well, I think you were happy for the fact that you were in the majority, which is a good thing. So I think I see it as an opportunity, like for you guys to come here to say, we've been through the worst. We've also been through the worst. We come together and say, this is what we've learned. And we say, this is what we've also learned, and say, look, your brain and our brain coming together. I think the unity, somebody touched on the unity. The unity is the key, because once we all start having one common goal, we'll then come up and say, you can't be fronting as a company that employs Black. We don't want to be employed. We want to sit on the boards. We want to make decisions, not to be told that you can work, you get a salary at the end of the day. That's why you'll then see the differences in the Hillbrow. And then if you just go across the road, you're going into Parktown, you see there's a former statesman that lives there. If you go to Sandton, just across the M1 on the other side, you find one of the worst slums of a township you would ever find. So if you look at that the differences between that, that then shows you that we have the opportunities to actually jump over to be in Sandton as well. But if we are afforded and we were also helped. But I say to you, welcome, guys. It'll be a nice thing to have you sit down and say, look, let's all have some, not an affirmative action situation, but a proper, Black empowerment. Exactly. Thank you, brother. Easy. Sure. Thanks.
I want to ask this. So, Adrian, you have something to say, Adrian?
No, I'm saying thank you.
Oh. So several times you guys mentioned getting into universities. Are the universities still majority white? And are there not any, like, we have HBCUs. HBCUs save Black people, historically Black colleges and universities here in the United States. There were colleges specifically set aside. My university was founded in, my HBCU, the one that Adrian and I went to, was founded in 1869, 4 years after slavery ended, Dillard University here in New Orleans. And these universities were specifically set aside for us to, get a higher education, and then to be able to, obviously we still had segregation and Jim Crow and stuff, but able to get the skills and stuff that we needed in order to kind of build our own community. So are there no HBCUs or the equivalent in South Africa, like colleges just set aside for Black South Africans?
We actually had those colleges, the technical colleges. Is that what you're talking about?
No, this is a full
university. No. Can I just come in here?
Yeah.
So what Asad is speaking about, if we had to compare the US and SA, if you go to KZN, we have what we call Zululand University. If you go to Eastern Cape, we have Fort Hare. You go to Limpopo, we have TEFLOB. So those were what we call PDIs, previously disadvantaged institutions, which were majority Black and Black ran. So that would probably equate to what you guys have in the USA. In 2012, we have an exchange. Yeah, exactly. We have Ivy Leagues, which is your Cape Town, Wits. Those then would be your Ivy Leagues. And in 2012, we had like an exchange between the US and SA between those universities. But the program didn't really go far. So I don't know what happened to it. I was at the university. I ended up working there. So when it comes to Black people advancing in terms of in academia, you will always be told about capacity, which is in terms of professors and whatnot, because majority of the professors who are able to supervise and take on students tend to be old white professors. And there's like some sort of frustration that comes with that. So it sort of pushes out a lot of Black folks from obtaining PhDs and whatnot. So those are the two universities that we have here. I've worked for a university. I had students. I didn't get along with my then supervisor as well. I ended up leaving. I went to a foreign country. So those are the things that happens in terms of universities and institutions here locally.
Thank you, Sandili. So, I always wondered why Black institutions in the United States, such as our Howard universities or our Dillards or our Tuskegees or all of these Black institutions, don't have a more robust relationship with the continent. We often have African students. When I went to undergrad university, I think you guys call it varsity. When I went to undergrad, I met my best friend is from Eritrea, right? I was the best man in his wedding. I met people from Ghana, people from Nigeria, or whatever have you. But the university,
and professors too. We have professors, African.
Yeah, professors from all over the continent. But I always wondered why the university, the institution itself, didn't have an exchange program or like I guess we had an Africana studies program, but we didn't bring in, our brothers and sisters from the continent. And as an older man, as a 43 going on 43-year-old man, I understand that institutional white supremacy still invaded the Black university. We were producing some of the best minds and some of the best lawyers, some of the best doctors, but we still did not see past the European mindset, and we still had these negative attitudes towards Africa, towards the continent. So hopefully one day we will see a day where we have an exchange between the University of Johannesburg and
Ghana, for instance.
Yeah, and Ghana and all of these places, because that's that type of information exchange is what's important. And it also helps to bridge the gap between the continent and African Americans. Anyway, who else had the hand raised, or anybody else want to jump in?
It was pretty easy.
Oh, okay. I thought, okay, I wanted to add on opportunities that are here. You know, I think we, as Black folks here, we concentrate too much on crumbs. You know, the economy is huge. It's huge. So if we could widen up how we think and how we view things, there are greater opportunities here, and even the existing opportunities. I want to use the agricultural sector, for instance. You have farmers that move their products to the market, you know, and then we as consumers go to the market and get those products. What happens in the current situation is that those farmers take their products to the markets. The markets are run and managed by the Boers, you know. And the Boers, what will the Boers do? You are a Black farmer, you bring your products to the market. They will take their own, the products of their own first. And then when yours are running late because they've been there for some time, they're gonna talk a lesser price, and then you end up selling your products at a loss. Now, what needs to happen is that if we can have our Black farmers and have our own markets, because at the end of the day, who consumes these products? In the majority, we do. So we just we allow the farmers, and then we own those markets where the farmers bring their products, and then we sell these products to our people. It would be better for instance, all of us, you know. Those are kind of things we should look at. So that's an opportunity right there, you know.
All right, so thank you, Easy. Someone asked, to our African American brothers and sisters, what is common view of Africans as people? And I don't listen. I'm not too Zoom capable, so I don't know how to get back to that comment. It went away. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, view of Africans as people in the United States. You want to take that, Adrian? You want me to jump in? Or I better yet, we could let Kaya take. We'll let you jump in. She out in Philly. Wait. Wait. Gotta unmute. See.
Sorry. Would you mind repeating the question?
Okay, the question is, to African American brothers and sisters, what is the common view of Africans as a people in the United States?
Well, unfortunately, I don't interact with people that would have a view of Africans. Like, I know what their response is when I tell them that we're considering moving there, but I don't know what their overall view of, I can't speak to what, how people feel about Africans here in the States.
Well, what I can say, I heard this interesting conversation. There was an interview with Al Sharpton. If you guys don't know who Al Sharpton is, he's a political activist here in the United States. And he was being interviewed about Barack Obama. And as everyone knows, Barack Obama is African American in the most official use of that word. So he said that, there was a question when Barack Obama was first running, is he really Black enough? Because, his father is from Kenya. Does he have that same relationship with Black folk? And he said that question really came from Southern Blacks, because Southern Blacks only know Black and white. He said, and he grew up in New York. He grew up his entire life with people from Jamaica, with people from, the Caribbean, and people from Africa. So he had a different understanding that there were some variations in this Blackness. Here in New Orleans, I think we had a different relationship with Africa and Africans, because our culture is so intertwined with African culture. I mean, it's again, Dino and all of my people who are in the US, make a trip and you'll understand what I'm saying. Like we have a very, you know, from the food to the music to, you know, our drumming sessions in Congo Square, all of this stuff is very, you know, Afrocentric. And I don't think even as New Orleans, we recognize it. We just think it's New Orleans culture, but we understand we wear our African clothes and all that stuff. But for other people in parts of, for other Black Americans, I think that the media shaped a lot of our perceptions of Africa. And it wasn't a good perception.
That's right.
And as I mentioned in one of my videos, in the 80s, that Ethiopian famine was all we knew about Africa. That represented all of Africa. Sally Struthers walking with this baby with flies and the big stomach. And we said, that's Africa, right?
It was either that or conflicts, whatever.
Or war, right.
People
it wasn't, but let me tell you what really sparked much of many Black people to reconsider their perception of Africa. And there was this era in hip hop music where it was kind of Afrocentric, pro-Black. So you had like poor righteous teachers and all of this stuff. So, and people were rocking African medallions. So at that time, a lot of people began to kind of reevaluate their perceptions of Africa. So you have this generation of Black Americans, KRS-One, exactly, KRS-One. So you have this generation of Black Americans who are very Afrocentric as it relates to that. But then again, the white man's media is much stronger than that hip hop music. So you don't hear much about Afrocentricity in hip hop anymore. All you hear about is, you know, us killing and shooting each other and how much money we have, you know, and stuff like that. So the music changed, but I am from that generation that grew up on KRS-One, that grew up on Poor Righteous Teachers, that grew up on the X-Clan and listened to this type of music. And I was like, man, I mean, I was introduced to, you know, so many ideas, even from like the Black liberation ideas of Marcus Garvey and all that stuff through hip hop music. And so it was a powerful medium, but I'm rambling off. Anybody else want to jump in? Chris, not Chris Cross, my brother. Chris Cross didn't.
Oh, no.
It wasn't Chris Cross. Tupac, maybe. Not Chris Cross. Yeah.
Kid and Play. Kid and Play, Chris Cross. What was that? Mac Dad will make Chris Cross.
Yeah, Daddy Mac will make it jump. Yeah.
Not MC Hammer. No.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Public Enemy.
Oh man.
Public Enemy. We have to mention Public
Enemy. Chuck D and Public Enemy.
Public Enemy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dead Prez, Assad.
Oh, at that point, you know, I met M1 and Stickman. Like, Dead Prez is what, I mean, how powerful of a group to have only, you know, they haven't put out an album in years, but I mean, they're still doing shows off of the music that they made like 20 years ago. And that just, they sparked such a revolutionary energy and Black folk who embrace their music, you know? So, but yep, anything else before we've been on here a little over an hour, and I know we don't want to hold and monopolize anyone's time, and I have meetings. I need to attend this.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's interesting because us as Africans, we used to look up to you. You guys were like, you know, you were the coolest, you know, because us as Africans, we never thought there is such kind of people, you know. There was that thing that we always wanted to be. We always related in all the things that you used to do. We could relate more to them, and you guys on the other side were thinking, we hate you, we sold you out, we made you slaves and stuff like that. I've heard stories like that, but it's nothing to that sort. And thank goodness to internet, we having such platforms, and we are able to exchange ideas. That's why I asked you once in your video that what is it that Americans can actually contribute to Africans that can make us better, so that when we put something like a product, it will actually be meaningful, and we will be able to benefit both sides of Africans, and we just want to let you know, let the brothers and sisters that side, that we never hated you. We just always wanted you to come home and experience what is it like to be an African, and teach you things that will actually benefit you. That's all I wanted to say.
So let me jump in and say this. We never heard from Africans that they didn't like us. We heard from the white man that Africans didn't like us, that Africans didn't like us. That's who we heard it from, you know, and because we did not have an internet, because first of all, Black folk just started traveling internationally in the last 10 or 15 years, really en masse, right? I talked about this before with the Green Book. We were afraid to travel throughout our own country up until the 60s. The Green Book was a book that told you where it was safe for you to stop in the South, right? And this is in the 60s. It stopped being published in 1963. I looked it up after I made that video. There's places in Louisiana, and I mentioned this in the video, when I'm traveling from Texas and I'm traveling on what you guys would call, I guess, the M1, our interstate, when I'm traveling, it's places in North Louisiana, I still won't stop because I don't feel comfortable, right? So thank God for the internet opening up and allowing us to see, you know, a different view of Africa and giving a different narrative than that was given. Now, what can we contribute? I think there is a synergy that needs to be created from both Africans and African Americans, right? We have longed to know, I think every African American longs to know who they are. That's a question that we deal with since birth, whether we deal with it consciously or subconsciously. It's in our epigenetics. We want to know who we are. So coming to a continent, wherever we land, Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, Tanzania, Rwanda, wherever we land, we can then be able to reconnect with some form of who we are. That's probably the most profound question that Black America has been dealing with. You know, W.E.B. Du Bois in The Soul of Black Folk, he wrote, "How does it feel to be a problem?" Part of the problem is that we don't know who we are, right? We have been reduced to a color. Think about that. If I ask Sandili what ethnicity or tribe you're from, or any of your brothers, you can name it like that. We have been reduced to a color only, right? And so what can the continent provide for us is identity, right? Identity. A sense of belonging, a sense of understanding, a sense of history, a sense of ancestry. These are the things that we don't have, right? And we have created our own little history in the United States. I don't want to minimize that. We've created our own history in the United States, but we're talking about, you know, hundreds of thousands of years versus 300 years, right? Yeah. So it's something very important that you guys can offer us. On the flip side, we have been fortunate, even in our oppressed state, to grow up in the most economically advanced nation on earth. We have been fortunate to have access to different things and to have a currency. Let's be clear, we have a currency that is one of the strongest in the world. So we can bring the skills that we have learned in our sojourn here in the United States. We can bring some of that education that we have learned in our sojourn here in the United States and some of that economic development that we have learned back home. And not that we're coming to be anyone's savior. We're not anyone's savior. We're coming to contribute to build a better future for everyone with Black skin, right? So as African Americans and Africans get together, I believe the first step in this is beautiful things like coming together on the internet. The first person that we saw that was really doing something amazing for Black people worldwide was a guy named Wody Maya. I don't know if you guys follow Wody on YouTube. If you don't, please go follow him. He has like 1 million followers. But he has been going around the continent just introducing people to different parts of Africa and showing different African Americans who returned, different Black people from the UK who have returned to the continent to live. And I was like, wow. In fact, he showed Rwanda one time. And then the next time he went to Rwanda, he showed African Americans who had moved to Rwanda because they saw his video, right? this is the type of stuff that needs to take place, this type of dialogue, this type of information exchange that needs to take place as we build, we attempt to build for a better future. So I'll leave the closing remarks for anyone that wants to leave them. If not, I got the white man on my back. I got to go to the meeting. White man still controls me over here.
I just wanted to highlight the Lobola story now. I don't know if I heard you speaking about the Lobola somewhere in one of your YouTube channels. Yeah. I think in other countries like Tanzania, they call it dowry. Yeah. That thing is actually, my understanding, it's something very, very intensive. It's like this is why we do it. Firstly, we recognize that the person you are marrying is one of the greatest human beings on earth. It's the one that brought every human being in this world, a black woman. Now, when you have done that, when you do that, when you take the dowry, we call it lobola, it's about recognizing the people before her. We mean her ancestors, her parents, and you are trying to make yourself, your ancestors, and herself and her ancestors meet. That's why you have to pay that malobola, that lobola, because that's what it means. It's a sacrifice to appreciate the people that have made this person here in this point in time.
Ezekiel, you just made my wife say, "Come through easy." Hey, cut that out, Adrian. Before, but as Muslims, we have to pay a dowry to women, but it's quite different. Than the reason is different. The reason why we pay a dowry is because and it belongs totally to the woman. It's hers, right? It's not to her family. It's to her. And in case there is a divorce, because in Islam, as Muslims, women do not have to work. The sole responsibility of being a provider is on the man. So any money that she makes is her money. Fortunately, my wife doesn't look like that, or think like that. We know how to put it together. But in Islamically, that dowry money goes to the woman in case there is a death or divorce. She will not be left without anything. She will have something of her own. Guys, I don't want to cut the conversation short, man. I appreciate every one of you for coming on. Man, this was a wonderful conversation, man. I learned so much. As long as they don't change any travel restrictions, we will still be there in December. We hope nothing happens with this Omicron and they force us to sit down. Even if they do, we'll just have to reschedule our trip. But as of now, our plans are still to be there in December. We definitely will have another one. I gotta check our schedules and make sure that my stuff is together or whatever have you. You know, I have 2 or 3 jobs. Really, literally, I do have 2 or 3 jobs. I told you it's multiple streams of income if you pay attention. So, what else? So we'll post this online. Steve, you said you were gonna send me an email. Make sure you send that email. My email is always in the description. And I thank each and every one of you for
Thank you.
We definitely will have another one. You guys have a great night.
Can you drop your email here? I don't have it.
All right, let me see. Adrian, you want to put my asadelmalik email in there for me? Is she doing it? If not, it's always on the description of the videos.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always on the description of the videos. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you all.